Greetings, guten Tag, Dalofalava. This is Dr. Snow Brown speaking to you all. Nice to get up with you all, especially my Snow Gang Club congregation. I hope you're still there. Snow sheep, snow shepherds. If not, hang in there, hang in there. Don't disappear, don't disappear. Try not to. If you quit, well then that's your own accord. Not my so-called what? Not my directions, not my instructions, and nor my authority. That I tell you to quit. That's correct. Although ideally, in saying that, well, I think I quit on New Zealand ages ago. I think you all know that already. I'm talking about New Zealand brackets. Aotearoa, that's correct. As you can see, there are no postings from New Zealand. There is nothing posted in my kingdom from New Zealand, brackets Aotearoa. I think you'll all understand after this evening's so-called chat, catch up with you all. You'll get the full summary. The reason why, and I think you already know the reason why. And I've repeatedly said that I've left New Zealand brackets Aotearoa. So that means I only exist on the social media platform as Facebook. That is where my kingdom is at. But at the moment, that's great. It seems like a lot of you Kiwis are coming in. And that includes people that are non-Christians. Now, and of course, I don't understand why you need to enter my kingdom. There are so many Facebook pages, that's correct. And there are so many private Facebook pages. In fact, majority of Facebook pages, even though it's on social media, are private. Now, my one, of course, happens to be a kingdom. That's correct. It's a private kingdom. That means there's a condition that says it bans people from criminal organizations or anybody even that's been to, prisons. But I think when I pretty much say anybody that's correct, from criminal organizations, are banned, then that would include anybody that's been also to prison. That is correct. So why is it a private monarch? Brown monarch? Well, because I've got to assess the situation. I've got to look at my family, my immediate family. That's correct. Where I came from, what my family is really all about. And we are Christians. We are devout Christians, but we're a royal family. So we don't expect anybody, that's correct, from criminal organizations to be part of our private monarch. Our families, that's correct. And this isn't a kingdom where you automatically think, well, you're going to become part of the elite. Because it looks like a lot of you are already part of the elite. And even when you're in the criminal outlaw underclass level, you are already part of the elite. What do I mean by that? Am I being sarcastic or am I being ironic? No, I think you, in terms of those, the red and white demon, you know what I'm talking about. But you already are part of the elite. On a very, very dangerous, harmful, detrimental, that's correct, very deadly level. So today being the 22nd of April, I'm going to specifically lay it out. My kingdom, that's right, is for Christians that have become reborn Christians. So that means if you've always been a Christian, you're now being converted to a snow sheep or a snow shepherd. That's correct. Remember, this is a new faith. That's correct. A new church. Now, the way that it's going, it's operating on the so-called court mode, the court chamber mode. That's correct. But at the moment, it's operating on the mode of healings. That's correct. So that means I have a right to exclude people from my kingdom. So if I don't think that, like anybody who goes, say for example, people out there, they have own private functions, like birthdays and weddings and whatnot. That's correct. They can exclude, you have to go there. In order to go there, you got to have an invitation to enter the function. That's correct. Unless, of course, they give out an open, an open book kind of invitation to everybody. So this kingdom isn't for everybody. That's correct. The kingdom is specifically for snow sheep, snow shepherds, reborns. So that means if I said that you're excluded, people from criminal organizations and people that are excluded, then that means it will only be those that are already Christians or those that are converting to Christianity and are wanting to become a snow sheep and a snow shepherd, a reborn Christian. That's correct. So on the so-called the ministry level, it's called CTV Facebook. So it's open. But it's mainly for people that are already Christians or have converted to become Christians. That's correct. But it's really more for people that are nobles. That's correct. That are meek. So I guess what I'm saying is the people that have been going against me have been targeting me here in my local township, and especially inside this building, this address, in the last 8 years or so. That's correct. And even the last 25 years in relation to the red and white demon, which has nothing to do with a lot of you, because a lot of you are not victims of slavery, nor are you victims of targets by criminal organizations. So, just ignore what I'm talking about. But for the people that know what I'm talking about, that's correct. Take this as a final warning. You're not to enter my kingdom. So please stay out, or you go on your own Facebook and create something that is catered to your needs. That's correct. Or go to your relevant organization, relevant agency, or even go to the government to get somebody to create you your own so-called CTV Facebook. That's correct. Just because there's so many celebrities in there, don't mean it's open for everybody. That's correct. Because I'm starting to get the impression that there must be a reason why you guys are entering my kingdom but you're not willing to make any payments or any donations. So as far as I'm concerned, New Zealand, you need to move on. That's correct. You are not welcome inside my kingdom. I don't mind the people that are part of the social media. Facebook, that's correct. I don't mind the celebrities. I don't mind the people that don't harm me. That's correct. That are genuinely, wanting to become, converted to Christianity. To become snow sheep, snow shepherds. But as for the rest of you, you do not need to enter my kingdom. That's correct. You don't belong there. And I've told you many times that's correct. Now I'm going to say this. Those who come in for healings, that's correct, or for personal growth, and also to help you, with your mental illness, disabilities, whatever, right, for leisure, that's fine. I don't have a problem. But for the troublemakers, I'm sorry, they want to apply their criminal, harmful protocols. I want you to get out now from my kingdom. And I'm talking about the red, white demon. You need to get out of my kingdom. That's correct. And that includes any evildoers, criminals. That's correct. You don't belong inside my kingdom because it has a detrimental effect. That's correct. It does affect not only my snow sheep, snow shepherds, but it also affects this person here. That's correct. The meek natural pastor. That is correct. So as for the white demon, I don't care what you do. I'm talking about the KKK, that's correct. But I don't want you to come inside my so-called kingdom. If you're doing it, if you're copying stuff or you're downloading stuff, you do not need to enter my kingdom. That's correct. You do not need to apply any of your arbitrary dictatorships either. That goes for the red demon. You do not need to connect any outside networks. I told you that before. Many times, and I'd warned you already. But you don't listen. You don't listen. Because I get the impression that you're still accessing my church TV. No need to. No need to. You do not need to go there. You're not part of my kingdom. That's correct. And you're not supposed to apply my rules. You're not supposed to read my play. That's correct. You're not to access anything to do with this noble if you've tortured this person here at this address and if you targeted me for whatever reason. You don't need to go in my kingdom. I want you to get out and stay out. You know what I mean? Now, for the people of Aotearoa and the whole of New Zealand, now I'm going to say you all need to get your own church TV. That's correct. Get your own. The one that you can pay for it, one that you're quite happy to pay donations to. Like with every other facility, every other intellectual property, anything that's owned by the people of Aotearoa, you're quite happy to give a koha. That's correct. Right? Well, you need to move on from me, New Zealand. You don't need to enter my kingdom. You don't need to access it either if you're not going to show any respect. That's right. You're already taking quite a lot from me. Stolen. Not get free blessings and free, healings and protections for nothing. And this isn't also for the so-called Catholic faith. That's correct. The Catholic faith have got their own platforms and have got their own Facebook media, social media, private Facebook. You do not need to be part of my kingdom. It's a private monarch. Now, at the moment, it's still open. But come a time when I file my restraining order, I might change my mind and say, right, I'm closing it and making it private. That's correct. But the criminals, especially the red and the white demon, especially that son of a bitch of an arsehole of a lawyer. I'm talking about Mr. Willow. Well, hang on a second. He's not Mr. Willow. Mr. Anthony Shaw, that's correct, in Oriental Bay. I want you also, Mr. Lawyer, Mr. Barrett, to get the hell out of my kingdom. And don't you connect anything or study me. That's correct. And don't take anything out of context either. Get the fuck out of my kingdom, you son of a bitch. That's correct. You have the nerve. That's correct. To harm me at this address, to go through the minister who manages this building, to apply your so-called criminal bullshit. That's correct. Harmful protocols. To my person, did you fuck any of the elite? So that you could have me dealt to, which is exactly what these son of a bitches were doing here inside this building, Mr. Minister. That's right, Mr. Minister. How could you give a bunch of criminals, that's right, authorization to allow them to apply their criminal harmful protocols inside this building that is licensed? Mr. Minister, you're a bloody pervert and an asshole at the same time. That's correct. You son of a bitch, you white nigger racist asshole. That's correct. Oh, don't you bullshit to me. How could you let these people apply the criminal protocols inside this building? You know what I'm talking about. That goes for every minister inside the Crown Government of New Zealand. You're not only disgustingly rude, but you're a bunch of perverts. That's correct. And you didn't need to listen into my private conversation inside my own address. Mr. Minister, have some common sense. But do something about this. That's correct. You don't dare do that to anybody else, but don't you dare continue on doing that. Because I'm going to wonder, who the hell do you think you are? As a minister. You better grow up, you son of a bitch. That's correct. How dare You pervert! I haven't found out your names yet, who actually manages this building, but I tell you right now, I do not like the ministers of the government of New Zealand. You racist son of a bitches, that's correct. Do you think I didn't know that you were actually listening into my private conversations? Do you think I didn't know that every time I say something about you guys, you got me dealt to via these son of a bitches inside this building? You didn't give a fuck about this, Noble, that's right. The only thing you care about is your treaty and your so-called bullshit. That's great. And the criminal harmful protocols. Oh my God, I can't imagine, Minister, that you would fuck a KKK member. Let alone the asshole lawyer. That's correct. You have the bloody nerve to allow a bunch of fucking criminals who are nothing more than lowlifes and ratbags to harm me here in this address. Mr. Minister, I don't know what's going on inside your thick brain, but you are a son of a bitch who deserves a death penalty. You have the bloody nerve to deny my privileges through the police. That's correct. I wouldn't be surprised to allow that lawyer, who's nothing more than a whore, like most English white son of a bitches, white niggas in this country. The fucking elite that go for a fucking minister to have me doubt your study as well as dictate it to. Oh, I've got every right to be angry. I got every right to express my anger. And I don't need any people of Aotearoa. That's great, the Maoris. Get your own kingdom! And get out of my kingdom! You see how angry I am? It's because your people, that's correct, had dealt to me here at this address. And no one fucking asshole in the crown and the government of you gave a fuck, that's correct. That includes members of the Māori Party. I really don't care. But I want you all to know this. I don't want any New Zealanders, any Kiwis inside my kingdom. I want you to get the fuck out of my kingdom. And stay out of it. And I don't want any of your criminal harmful protocols inside my kingdom. You get that? My gods don't like it, that's correct. My 6 Holy Ghost children do not like anyone from this country, especially if they're racist, they're arrogant, and they're also what? Rude. They have the nerve to come inside my flat every time I went out, that's correct, and have you doubt to. Well, the son of a bitches were enjoying their privileges. As for Mrs. That's right, Atalana Treveranas, Ni Amosa, you better learn to keep your legs closed, madam. That's correct. If you fuck Mr. Anthony Shaw or any of the other minister elite to get me, doubt to here, you better be careful, madam, because I could bury you, but I could come at your address. I could give you a hiding. That's correct. Better learn to keep your legs closed. That's correct. Let alone not cross my boundaries. They have the nerve. It's disgusting. And as for my cousin, Amanda Baker, you better keep your legs closed as well, madam. And don't you ever dare fuck an elite or a minister. That's right. Because after all, you're a KKK associate. You're an MMB associate. The rest of your so-called maniac side of the family, that's correct, are that way inclined. You're not only loose cannons, but you spread your bloody fucking legs. That's correct. When you want to dictate to me, you have the nerve. That's correct. They should be shot dead. Your rallies are disgusting. They got no morals. That's correct. But they have the nerve to fuck an elite, to get back at you. That's correct. To have you dealt to. And don't enter my kingdom. The only reason why some of you want to be part of my so-called kingdom is because you want to fuck an elite. I hope to God it's not because you want to fuck a military person, because that ain't going to happen. That's correct. The only thing they think about is sex. That's about the only size of it. That's correct. Now, don't think that by coming inside my kingdom that you're going to get, yeah, that's correct, access to free sex. You're already getting free blessings, free healings, free protections. Now you want free sex. Yeah, but from who? Certainly not from my family, that's for sure. That's correct. Nobody would want a bunch of moikolos, a bunch of rapists, a bunch of pedophiles, a bunch of liars, a bunch of loose cannons to become part of my kingdom. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, honey bun. Yes, honey bun, I hear you loud and clear. No, they need to hear this. No, they need to hear it. They need to get out of my kingdom. Get out of my private Facebook. No, you don't tell me what to do. That's great inside my kingdom. But I can pretty much tell you where to go. That's correct. You don't not need to be part of my private Modoc, and you certainly don't need to be part of my so-called Holy Ghost family either. The people that have always been part of my kingdom, right? I don't mind. But just do not apply any harmful protocols inside my kingdom, because I will pick it up, and the Archangel Warren and the guardian angel will pick it up. We will pick it up. As you can hear in my voice, you see how angry the guardian angel is? That's correct. It's because we've been dealt to so many times by these so-called ignorant, racist son of a bitches in this country. Especially in this region of the frickin' country. That's right. And if you had to complain about the so-called, if you hadn't told them about the level of income that you get from this government, it was only about 240, they wouldn't have increased the amount. I know. I thought to myself, my God, why's my benefit just gone up, another extra $20? That's correct. Another extra $20 or $30? Yeah, why did that happen? So who's actually stealing the rest of my benefit? That's correct. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? I'll say this right now to the government of New Zealand. I don't give a damn about your government, let alone your citizen in this country. But if any of you are ever going to have me dealt to because some ratbag or some lowlife or some criminal fucked the hell out of you and satisfied you, I'm sorry, you're not going to get away with that, right? No, you're not going to get away with that. I'm talking about what? No, because this is what's been revealed to me at this address. That this is what these ratbags actually do. That when they want to dictate to somebody's so-called privileges, or control somebody's life, or harm somebody, give them a payback, they go and fucking elite. That's correct. Now, what do you all think about that, Kiwis? How do you feel about that? Can you imagine somebody like myself has been dealt to too many times, all because a bunch of incorrigible criminals who are low-life scums are fucked and elite? Is that right? Is that even morally right? Did we vote the right people in to dispense justice, let alone the common laws of this country? No, I didn't think so either. I think we got the wrong Prime Minister and the wrong ministers. Well, I think when you consider what happened here in the last 8 years, during your tenancy, I'm going to wonder what was going through the thick skull and the thick brain of the so-called minister who was in charge of this building. That's correct. But I mean, if they all love that lawyer more than you, same with your rallies, oh, they would love to kill you. Now, I know that. They'd already dealt to you by having sex with a bunch of losers who are not only sex addicts, but they are what? Full of jealousy and violence. That's correct. I do not like this. I do not like their attitude at all. You can say what you like. You've earned it. But for them to actually deal to you in that way, that's correct. The next thing they say, oh, well, she's violent and she deserves to be blah, blah, blah. No, New Zealand. You all deserve to be put to death, shot dead by the Nazi soldiers, as I've been saying throughout my preaching. That's correct. When you consider what you did, that's correct. Can you imagine that they actually fucked an elite? You know, there are people out there that they've got to earn their living the right way. And I can tell you right now, that's not earning a living the right way. That's correct. But that is evil. That is fucking evil. What is that? Don't tell me that's right to do that. That they got a right to do that, to fuck an elite. Hey, they got no right to dictate to you. Let alone apply their so-called criminal protocols in your direction. Even if they did fuck over an elite or a minister, it still don't make it right. That's correct. Because they should be targeting their own slaves. They should be entering their own slaves' so-called private spaces. And wrecking their so-called digital devices or whatever. Hacking into their own so-called slaves. But when you consider Mr. Willow, the Anthony Shaw, well, they must be all slaves to the white niggers. It's in the KKK. They must all be slaves now because, you see, as I've learned, the only outcome that most criminal, people from criminal organization like to do is that they like to convert everybody to be part of their criminal organizations like this weird one. How do they do that? Well, they go and fuck an elite or fuck anybody. That's correct. To make them part of their so-called organization. It automatically convert them to so-called associates, I suppose. I'm thinking. So that they can dictate to their lives and their privileges. But of course, when they do that, well, you can only wonder what wrath, what evil, what bad luck, bad omen, bad news that's going to come in the direction of those sort of people. That's correct. Remember, they only like to contaminate, hijack, take ownership, steal, take what they can get from you. That's correct. So I can imagine now why some military men end up dead, or let's just say their wives end up dead. Why some people's wives end up dead. It's because if they're married, a lot of the men in those sort of criminal organizations know that they can't take ownership of the wives of those men. That's correct. They know that the women will not submit to them, willingly, like have sex with them. That's correct, because after all, they're about sex. They're about hijacking, taking ownership as well and stealing somebody else's property. So if those women that they know are married, already taken, are not likely to submit to their so-called, that's right, then of course they've got reason to say, well, since we can't have those women, we can't steal their wives or their children, we may as well give them the death penalty. I guess, is that what the minister would say as well? That's correct. To say to somebody, say for example, just as an example, say if the minister is expecting sex from me, and I don't willingly give sex to that minister, like what the criminals do, like I don't willingly submit to the will of the so-called minister. So is the KKK, who are the maniacs and the lunatics who they've already had sex with the minister, is going to say, well, I think we better give her the death penalty then. Yeah, I think we should. Or let's make her sick with COVID-19 or something. That's great. Let's teach her a lesson, because obviously we haven't succeeded, because we have been teaching her a lesson in the last 8 years during her tenancy, and she's still the same, and she still is not, we haven't broken her in. That's correct. She still sounds, tough as a rugged and tough as a nail. Her disposition is very tough. That's correct. You're still very outspoken and and strong, opinionated. My goodness. Is that what it takes to control people in a free and democratic nation like New Zealand? Brackets on Tekoroa. Is to fuck them. Fuck a so-called a criminal organization, a member of the criminal organization, or fuck an elite. That's great. To get them under control. If that elite or that minister has already fucked the KKK, then automatically he would become something like a slave a part of that criminal organization. So that means every other Dick and Harry and every other stupid person that goes and have sex with that elite person, you now automatically become part of that criminal organization. Are you aware of that? Did you know that? No, I didn't think so either. I guess the people here in the New Zealand, brackets Aotearoa, are not smart at all. No, they're really not that smart at all, like most islanders. You see what the white niggers do in this country? They use the brown niggers to control everybody else, privileges and lives. And all because they're jealous. They're jealous. They've got the so-called the green-eyed monster sickness. I mean, seriously. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Can I get an amen, honey bun? Amen. And by the way, again, I'm not a Maori. I'm not a Maori. No, I'm not a Maori. Despite that, you're all love to. They've been giving you the treatment. They love to treat you. Or they'd already tried to. But they already know. I just told them to get out of my kingdom. You don't belong there. That's correct. Get your own kingdom. Get your own kingdom. You do not need to enter my kingdom. And I do not need to speak any Māori language because I'm not Māori. That's correct. Like most Pākehās that are born, New Zealand born, who are ignorant anyway to any indigenous languages, hey, they don't speak one word of Māori. They don't even care. That's correct. All they care about is, me. What I want. Because they're Pākehās. And they don't care. That's correct. Just like Vladimir Putin there in so-called Russia doesn't care. He doesn't care. Neither do I. I don't care. If you're not going to give me $1 or a donation, but I want you to get out of my kingdom. I created it. Remember, I'm the owner and the producer and the director. But if you think you can copy my kingdom, that's correct, and transfer whatever, you're dreaming. Because what you got is a counterfeit. That's correct. Although you'd like to take ownership of my so-called kingdom, I'm sorry, the government of New Zealand doesn't own it. So now I'm telling you, get out of my kingdom. That's correct. You don't belong there. Now, for those people that are not Christians, but they just want to come in and use my so-called church TV, right, you can come in as guests and visitors. Except Queen Snow Brown will not be Queen Snow Brown. Will not be Holy Mother on your level. She will be Mother Earth. She will be Mother Earth on your level if you're a non-Christian. That's correct. So there you go. No, I don't care about your children. That's correct. I don't care about any criminal organizations. You don't deserve to enter my kingdom and you don't belong there. In fact, children that are royal status have more rights. They got more rights to enter my kingdom. That's correct. Than the ones that are non-Christians. And even the ones that are, that's correct. The royal children have got more rights to enter my kingdom. But especially those that are meek and are genuine, that's correct. And are good children, that's correct. Good fruits. And especially those that are what? That are Christians, that's correct. Because, well, it's their reward. It's their reward, that's correct. But now I'm saying the kingdom belongs to me. Hey, my needs are more important. My needs are more important. My congregation exists, the Snow Can Club congregation, and everybody else, that's correct. Hey, their needs are more important. Snow sheep, snow shepherds. People that are coming in just to be a home wrecker, or, just to be a wrecker, or an eavesdropper, or a harmful, pest. You don't need to enter. You don't need to enter. You don't need to know anything inside the kingdom. And you don't need to apply anything inside the kingdom if you're not going to convert to a reborn Christian or you're not even going to become one. That's correct. There's really no need for you to enter then. Everybody else who want to promote their companies, and I'm talking about the celebrities, everybody else, hey, that's fine, that's fine. Because after all, everybody, all the videos that I am using, they're all contributing to the greater good of my snow sheep and snow shepherds. But at the end of the day, I'm only interested in doing the will of God. I'm only interested in doing the will of God. So if I've got people inside my kingdom that don't what? That don't align with the will of God, don't align, especially with the will of my Queen Snow Brown, then you shouldn't be coming in. Then there's no need for you to come in. That's correct. Your government, you need to create your own kingdom. That's correct. Get your own. Get your own. This is only for Facebook, social media. That's correct. Why would I want to invite people in that are commoners, but people that have got no respect for me? That's correct. Especially those that have actually harmed me already. Why would I want people that, here's how it is. Why would anybody want somebody to enter their private spaces, say if they've committed a crime against your person? Say if that person committed a sex crime or has stalked you, harassed you, or done, evil to you. Why would you want somebody like that to come near you, let alone invade your personal space? That's correct. See what I'm talking about, people? Why some of you don't deserve to enter my kingdom and you don't need to enter? That's correct. Because in your thick mind and your thick skull, you're only after sex. You're only after sex. That's correct. So if you're on that kind of mindset, you do not need to enter my kingdom because there are children there. That's correct. And they don't need to pick up on your rubbish and your baggages. That's correct. Right? Well, get out. People don't need to talk to you either. Hey, if you've been to jail and you've come out of jail, great. But I don't need you to come inside my kingdom. I don't need to talk to you either. I don't need to know about your problems either. Go find something else. Go somewhere else. That's correct. The same with people in criminal organizations. You do not need to come into my kingdom. I'm a royal. I'm a noble. I should be among elite. I should be among the celebrities. I should be among important people. That's correct. And other royals. That's for the rest of you. You don't need to be there. You don't need to enter. That's correct. You'd already shown me no love. You'd already made it very clear that you don't like me. That's correct. That you don't want anything to do with me, because if you did, my God, you would have given something, a donation. But I don't need your donations anymore. Did you know that? I don't need anything from New Zealand in terms of donations or whatnot. It's too late. It's gone. It's too late. I just need you to get out and stay out of my kingdom. Apart from the people that are worthy. That's correct. Don't deserve me. You don't deserve me. You don't deserve my nightings. You don't deserve my round tables. They're specifically for me and my family. Not if you're going to steal from me, New Zealand. That goes for the ministers. Not if you're going to allow commoners that have got no respect and have not earned the privilege. Just like you allow these criminals and lowlifes to be given privileges that they don't deserve. And you got the nerve to control my privileges. That lawyer is a slave. Did you know that? Or you couldn't tell the difference? I can tell the difference. My snow shepherds are free agents. They are not slaves. Not to the ministers, not to the government of New Zealand, and not to any criminals in this country. But when you think you can dominate and put your branding of criminal protocols inside our intellectual property that are pure and clean and holy, man, that's when I won't take it anymore. That's when I'm going to tell you, get out of your fleck. And I do not need your people. I do not need to come to your Marae. I do not need to have anything to do with the Māori. No, I don't. And Crystal Kingdom doesn't need to have anything to do with your people. That's correct. If you're going to be really selfish, if you're going to be mean and nasty, that's correct. And if you're going to be a Scrooge as well, that's correct. And try and fuck the elite, fuck the ministers. You get back at me to dictate to my kingdom. How dare? Then I want you to get out of my kingdom. And I don't want you to ever speak to me in public or say anything. Just shut up. That's correct. And move along. That's correct. And when I leave your country, I don't want any of you to come. Don't ever come asking for a knighting, asking for a title, that's correct, to be bestowed upon you, because you do not deserve it. You've been banned from my kingdom for when? For how long? Until 2028. That's why I couldn't post anything in my kingdom anymore to do with New Zealand. Because you've been kicked out of my kingdom. Because of what you've been doing. And besides, your blessing, that's correct, Aotearoa, New Zealand, was given to Denmark. Did you know that? So that's why you got banned and sentenced and kicked out of my kingdom. For being bloody thieves and punks. Got no manners either. They got the nerve. You know, in all the years, in the last 8 years here, in the last 25 years, I have never entered any of your private spaces. That includes the ministers. But you got the nerve to enter mine? And you got the nerve to encourage the police officer to violate my sacred body? That's correct. While I'm asleep? Oh, don't lie. Don't lie to me. That's correct. Don't lie. Because when I have to order the Nazi soldiers to come and take you all out, you won't be able to deny it. Your lies and your crimes committed. You committed treasons, so you do not need to enter my kingdom. You've committed treason, so you get out of my kingdom. As simple as that. Simple as that. They're a headache anyway, and a pain in the ass. And I don't need any of them. No, you don't. The only people that matters the most are the people that are now snow sheep, that are part of your congregation. That's correct. But at the end of the day, hey, my style of preaching, if you can't handle my style of preaching, well, that's probably why. Because you don't belong in my kingdom. Right. I don't need to feel sorry for any of you. You don't feel sorry for nobody. I don't need to. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Take care, my snow sheep. Thank you for this opportunity. Amen.